Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and it's Saturday, which means I'm probably not going to do a review. And by probably not, I'm definitely not doing a review this time. But on account of it being Halloween, I've decided to rattle off my top 5 best scary video games. My criteria being A, that they were actually scary to me, and B, that they were good games in general. Starting from the bottom, number 5 is Condemned Criminal Origins. In Condemned, you play as Ethan Thomas, an FBI agent who is on the hunt for a serial killer when he is then framed for murder by another serial killer, Serial Killer X. This game was first person. It really wasn't much of a shooter. It was a lot of melee. It put you in a lot of really creepy but very realistic environments. And you spent a good amount of time investigating the murders and tracking people down through investigation. It was pretty cool. What made it scary was you're walking around these creepy, abandoned tenement buildings and just abandoned areas in general, just waiting for some crazed maniac to try and kill you. It made you uncomfortable, and it made you almost constantly afraid of what was around the next corner. Number 4 is the first Dead Space game. This was a game that did a good job combining third-person shooter elements with still being a scary game, and at times making you feel pretty darn helpless, even though you had a gun. And one of the tricks was, it screwed with your brain. It made you question Isaac's sanity throughout. And while I will admit, because I'm not a big fan of them, it had its fair share of jump scares, but they were well done because you didn't know when they were coming. They were at weird times. Not when you're sitting there going, oh, yep, I got grabbed by a giant tentacle. Saw that coming. And let's face it, the necromorphs were scary. You never knew when they were coming, and they had some awesome design. And the unitologist added a really creepy aspect when there's people out there, not just monsters trying to get you. Number 3. The original Silent Hill. From the creature design to the storytelling to the world that you are in, it's a nearly perfect horror experience. The story led you on Harry's journey through what could only be described as his worst nightmare. His daughter is missing and he has to go into this creepy abandoned town that then turns into a hell town at times, like a hell version of the town. It introduced this creepy, disturbed religion, amazing creature design, fantastic music to just put you on edge. Exploring the town, finding out what happened to Alessa, what's going on with your daughter, every element of it just disturbs you. On to number 2, Fatal Frame. Admittedly, I didn't fully dig the story of this game, but you're a creepy Japanese girl in a creepy haunted Japanese village. Which means there are Japanese ghosts, which, on account of them being Japanese ghosts, they're instantaneously scarier than, well, all other ghosts. Fatal Frame doesn't hit number 1 because, well, I found the story really forgettable, but it's this high on the list because it is without a doubt one of the scariest games I've ever played. It scared the shit out of me. I'll throw out some honorable mentions. They include Silent Hill 3, continuing the story from Silent Hill 1. The first Fear game, because let's face it, creepy little girl Alma, yeah, horrifying shit. And The Suffering, which was Dead Space before Dead Space was Dead Space. And it happened in a prison. And then there's Until Dawn. Not the scariest game, but a great story and a great horror experience. Pretty good Halloween game, in my opinion. I'll also add Outlast to the list because, well, it's scary. Even though I don't necessarily enjoy the style of game, it is a scary game. And I think I'll toss Alien Isolation on the list as a dishonorable mention because I didn't find it scary, and, well, if you want to know more, you can always check my review. Now, for number 1. It's pretty easy to guess what it is. It's Silent Hill 2. Why? It's simple. Everything about the game. Everything. Everything that made Silent Hill 1 great was improved upon in Silent Hill 2. From the creature design to what is going on in the world and even expanding upon the canon of Silent Hill. Not only does it improve in all those ways, it belongs on like the Mount Olympus of games just for its storytelling alone. The characters, the story, everything draws you in. You actually care about just the random characters you run into and their backstories. But what makes it scary? The fact that it builds an unwavering sense of dread. You're just waiting and waiting for the next horrible thing to occur. Sometimes you're in a moment where you're like, oh God, it's gonna happen. Bam, it doesn't frickin' happen. Just building on that suspense, just making you fear when it will actually happen even more. It's the fact that it builds up to the scares and you don't necessarily know when they're coming that puts the scares in Silent Hill 2 above other games. And well, let's face it, Pyramid Head. I mean, seriously, Pyramid Head. Need I really say more? Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me what your favorite game to play on Halloween is? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, subscribe. Have a good one.